My presentation title is The Possibilities and Problems of the Diffusion, Transfer, and Convergence of the Environmental Policy. The aim of this presentation is to analyze the influence of EU in the Polish environmental policy for making clear of the effect of the diffusion, transfer, and convergence of the environmental policy, and demonstrate the possibility of pan-European, pan-Euro-Asian environmental governance. How can we distinguish the concepts between the policy diffusion, transfer, and convergence? Policy convergence can be defined as any increase in the similarity between one or more characteristics of the certain policy. In short, policy convergence describes the end results of the process of policy change. Policy transfer is defined as process by which knowledge about policies, about administrative arrangements, institutions, and ideas in one political system is used in another political system. So policy transfer is understood as process rather than result. Policy diffusion refers to processes that might result in increasing policy similarities across countries. Diffusion means the socially mediated spread of policies across and within political system. So diffusion studies typically start out from the description of adoption patterns for certain policy innovation over time. What kind of mechanisms of policy convergence were there? Holzingers and Neal presented these 8 mechanisms as figure 2. While there are a lot of arguments on the mechanism of policy convergence, there are many discussions on the failure of policy transfer. Dorowitz and Marsh point out the 3 types of the reason of the failure of transfer. First, the borrowing country may have insufficient information about the policy and how it operates in the country from which it is transferred. We called it uninformed transfer. Second, although transfer has occurred, crucial element of what made the policy or institutional structures a success in the original country may not be transferred. We called this incomplete transfer. Third, insufficient attention may be paid to the differences between the economic, social, political, and ideological contexts in the transferring and borrowing country. We call it inappropriate transfer. So now I start the story in Poland. In Poland, the people's perception of environmental devastation and health problems caused by environmental pollution has begun since 1960s. In 1980s, there are many kinds of environmental movements, from soil specialist-based movements to anti-communist regime movements. In 1990s, when Poland tried to change radically from communist and socialist regime to democratic and market economy regime, the environmental consciousness of the Polish people was gradually decreased. However, the relationship between Ministry of Environment and environmental specialist organization was getting better. Ministry of Environment would like to exchange opinions with environmental organizations about particular environmental problems and national environmental policies, and both institutions began to grow partnership in the process of environmental policy decision making. However, EU accession made this situation different. EU presented 3 conditionalities for accession, which is now largely known as Copenhagen criteria. The contents of the criteria are first, the consolidation of democracy, second, functional market economy, and it's most important is third, acceptance of EU acquis communautaire. This conditionality made Ministry of Environment devoting to accept EU environmental acquis communautaire to the Polish existent environmental law system. Regarding EU accession and harmonization with EU environmental acquis communautaire, there are two features of relationship between EU and CEEC, Central and Eastern European countries. First, the relationship between EU and CEECs is highly asymmetric.